Good evening. My favorite quote is, "Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them." Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to another strong woman outside of my family that you should know. I'd like to introduce you to Kate Bernard. She was elected in 1907 as the first statewide female elected official in Oklahoma, before women even had the right to vote. She worked on legislation that banned child labor, created compulsory education, and helped improve the status of women and girls. And even though she got started on all of that over 100 years ago, we still have a long way to go for the next generation. Unfortunately, Oklahoma ranks as one of the worst states for women and girls. Here's what the data says. We're 49th in teacher pay and 50th per pupil spending. More women are murdered by men in Oklahoma than any other state, and we incarcerate more women per capita than anywhere else in the nation. Women's health and well-being ranks 50th in the country, and we have exceptionally high infant mortality rates. And lastly, for every man's dollar, a woman only earns 77 cents, and that's for full-time, year-round work. So would you be surprised to learn that we're also 49th in the country for the number of women serving in our state legislature? Policy change is needed to help move the needle on these statistics, and we need women at the table to be a part of that change. So, before you tune me out, this is not a partisan issue. Women bring different skills, priorities, and perspectives to governance. In fact, they're found to be the more collaborative sex. In backroom negotiations, women are found to interrupt less, identify nonverbal cues, and they utilize a more democratic leadership style, which allows them to be more collaborative. So that leads to them actually sponsoring and co-sponsoring more legislation than their male colleagues. And so that legislation actually often addresses these issues that we're talking about tonight. Like Kate Bernard, women are working on issues related to health, education, domestic violence, civil rights, the list goes on and on. So that all sounds good. Why aren't the women running? The problem is women don't self-identify as candidates. Self-doubt overshadows their ambitions to run for office. Meanwhile, college-age men who have the same exact ambitions and doubts still throw their hat in the ring 50% more often than women. Fun fact, throw your hat in the ring was first used by Teddy Roosevelt when talking about running for office. So here are some of the other challenges. Women aren't being asked to run by community and political leaders and other influencers. And this is critical since women aren't raising their hand on their own. They need to be told that we need you to run for office and why. And like many other careers, there's the challenge of that women are still primarily responsible for household and childcare duties. Unfortunately, there aren't very many examples in Oklahoma of women balancing a young family, a professional career, and a full-time job in public service. In fact, this picture's from Australia. So, one more challenge, and the largest one that women have once they run for office, is securing party support and raising funds. The data shows us that almost always a man will outraise his female challenger. And so this is another area where we have a lot of work to do. So enough doom and gloom. How can you help elect more women and improve the status of women and girls? Well, first, you can start by encouraging a young girl you know to get involved in the political process or leadership activities. Encourage her to be a Girl Scout or run for student council office. You could also tell her simply that she could be president one day, or encourage her to be a page at the state legislature. These will get girls aspiring to careers in politics and being willing to raise their hand earlier in their lives to run for office. Next, raise your hand right now if you know a woman who would be awesome in office. All right, keep it raised if you've told her lately. This is what we gotta balance out. So I hope you'll encourage a woman you know and that you thought of to run for office. And once she says yes, support her candidacy. She's gonna need you to volunteer, knock doors, donate, host a fundraiser so she can get to know your network and outraise that male challenger. And then on the most important day of all, I hope you vote. A lot of female candidates get their start in smaller elections like city council races or school boards, and those don't always coincide with the national presidential election. So vote often and regularly. And lastly, tonight, if you are a female in the audience thinking about running for office, I hope you'll hear that we need you and that your place is both in the House and in the Senate. Thank you.